Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
It's not a mirage. It is time for another Jeranism Live. We've got a guest today. Let me show you the thumbnail first so we can see what we've got going on. Oops, that's not going to work. That one will. We've got Get Your Piece of the Tree of Life. You've heard me talk about it recently, and it's something that I found recently, and I found it because of this man right here. His name is Alex Landry. We're going to bring him on. He had me on his show. We'll just welcome him here in a second. All right, there you are. Alex, my friend, how are you?
Hey, doing well, Jeran. Thanks for having me on. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you being here. I think I'll check if the volume's good. Can somebody let me know if we're 5 by on the volume? If not, you might be a little quiet, but don't know if we can fix that or not. We'll see. Anyway, so what happened was about 3-4 months ago, I guess is what it was, you invited me on your podcast, and I went on. We had a good talk about Flat Earth, other subjects. And then at the end of that podcast, you had just, and I don't even remember what triggered it. What made you bring it up? I don't remember exactly what it was. Who's Gregory? Do you know Gregory something?
Yeah, I just invited him. Greg's a good friend from the National Health Federation.
You want to bring him on as is it or to watch?
Oh, I guess just to watch. I went in here to like invite.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you want to invite him to the YouTube. I saw him in the back room at Zoom. I'm like, what? We have another person coming on? I'll give you that link in 1 second here. I was like wondering who's in the back room here. All right, here you go. I never had that happen before. I was like, somebody randomly find this? I'll put it in the... No,
I wasn't sure.
It's
I was just trying to, you can almost post it too, like on my Facebook.
Here you go. That is on your... There you go. Okay. In the chat on Telegram, I mean on Zoom, you should see the link to the YouTube video.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. All right, now we're back. All right, there we go. Good. So I don't remember what triggered it, but you brought up that you were called the Moringa Man, and you talked to me a little bit about Moringa, and I was very interested because obviously as you're taking steps to detoxify, something that we've had to do, and my son has some allergies, so we got rid of some things that we were, gluten, things like that, wheat, that we don't take anymore, we don't eat anymore. And I started to feel better, and as you start to feel better, you start to add little things to your repertoire. Distilled water, I think, was the beginning of it a long time ago. That kind of got me on that truth movement, or truth health movement, if you will. And then also adding Shilajit, was a fairly recent, probably a year ago, starting to take that every day. And then you talked about Moringa, and I was like, oh, I'll consider it. And then you said, let me send you a free, container of it. And I got it, and my wife and I started it. And within 3-4 days, I was like, man, this stuff is awesome. And when I started to look into it, because I didn't really look into it before you sent it, and then I started to look into it, and I was just shocked that I do feel like it is the tree of life. It's one of the most beneficial products that are trees that there is, and I've never heard of it. And anytime I see something like that, I'm just baffled. Like, how is this hidden? How is this not known? And if I mention it to anybody else, you ever heard of Moringa? They're like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. And yet it's one of the top products that has been used in Ayurvedic medicine for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So I guess you could start out by telling people who you are, your podcast, how that how you got me on the show, and then from there, let's get into Moringa and why you think it's so important.
Wow, Jeran. Well, you sound like a Moringa expert.
Well, I do look into things a lot, so I wouldn't be promoting something. Let me tell you that, and I wouldn't put my name on something unless I was sure of it. So this is the first product. And if people don't know, I have made my own Jeranism branded product. There you go. Jeran, Tree of Life, raw organic. So anyway, that's the first product I've ever done that with. And it's because I won't really ever advertise something unless I'm behind it, 100%. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the name Moringa Man started in 2015. And it happened after I harvested a moringa tree where I was living at Indian Rocks Beach at the time, and I'd actually planted that tree from a seed back in 2012, right before I relocated to the Garden Island of Kauai. And what brought me to Kauai was permaculture, because I was on a whole path of getting certified in permaculture design, and then advanced permaculture design, and then I realized I got to really immerse myself in nature, because a big part of permaculture is studying nature. And trying to reverse engineer it. And permaculture, in simple terms, means permanent culture. So how can we have a permanent culture that's in harmony, with our natural ecosystems? And moringa is known as one of the top permaculture plants because in permaculture, we evaluate plants based on their functions. So number one function being its nutrition, or if it's edible. But then we get into other functions like, can it remediate the soil? Does it provide, pollination for beneficial pollinators and so on? So, are you familiar with permaculture design? Have you?
Yeah, a little bit. I want to do it a little bit more, but I've read a lot about it and how moringa is definitely involved in that and how it increases honey production and helps the bees and all the stuff that comes with it. So it is one of those items, like you said, that also has benefits to the soil, right, to the environment.
Yeah. So when I was harvesting that tree in 2015, I shared a picture with you, actually, Jeran.
Are you seeing this, the one where you're up high on the tree? Yeah.
Yep, I was up high in the tree, so that's kind of how it started. People called me Moringa Man, and it's because that tree was 3 years old, and it was like 25 feet tall, and it had never been pruned before. And knowing the value of the leaves, I couldn't waste them. So basically, I processed the leaves, which is just, removing the leaves from the stems. And then I used a dehydrator, and then I turned it into powder. And then I would carry around a little jar of it with me. And whenever I would eat food, I would just, sprinkle a little moringa powder on my food.
Right.
And one thing led to another. I caught the attention of a vegan chef, and he's like, hey, I want to buy this stuff. So then that's when I started trying to look into different, business and laws when it comes to selling, a product for food,
right.
And, so that kind of led me to where I'm at now, where I've just built up an incredible relationship with what I believe is the world's best moringa farm and source in South India. Because as you mentioned, there's a system of health and healing and medicine called Ayurvedic medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the oldest systems of medicine in the world. And in Ayurvedic medicine, moringa is used to cure, treat, and prevent over 300 diseases. And so it's a big part of their culture there. Another thing in, permaculture or even horticulture is we look at, native plants, like where are certain plants from originally and kind of how do they tie into culture? There's a branch of science that I'm really into that's called ethnobotany. Okay. I'm not sure if you've heard of that before, but ethnobotany is the study of the relationship between plants and people and how that forms culture. When people have certain plants, that they really depend on and rely on and have relationship with. So when I lived in Hawaii, I became a horticulturist out there, a master gardener. I went to school for farm business management. Part of that curriculum was I had to create a farm business plan, but it was kind of a little stressful because to look into either trying to, raise capital to buy land and all the equipment or lease land and so on, I ended up just working for a farm, instead of starting my own. Mm-hmm. But through that process, I did brainstorm and I thought about, the moringa tree and being able to farm that. My best idea, I think, was a baby food farm where I was really passionate about that. It's just really started to think through the costs involved and labor and time and everything. I just, put that on the back burner. But
yeah, it's all very difficult to think about because the way that they make food now, and I'm a firm believer, and I'm getting firmer every day, that everything manufactured is the reason people get sick. Everything, it's this mass production of these terrible things that they call food that's not food anymore. I'm watching some videos of people like using a microscope to look into things like even like Cheetos. And I mean, it's insane what you see when you get into this stuff. It's like just garbage. And I think that's why people are sick. I think it's, and it's very difficult because we grew up in a way that's how, at least me, I was raised fast food and just all that food, cereal is what I ate for breakfast the first, 20 years of my life. And then you get to a point where you're like, you know what, I think that there's a better way to do all this. And it is with what God gave us. That's what people have gotten away from. People have gone to, make everything easy for me. We just are harvesting our peaches the last 2 days, and we've got there's probably 200 peaches on my peach tree out there. It's so awesome. They're the best tasting peaches I've ever tasted. And so we're really excited about that. What happened, for the longest time, they were green. They were big, but they were green and just not ripening. And we're like, what's going on? Well, I had to add a little 10-10-10. But anyway, and that brought it all back. And a little bit of lime, too, to help the soil. So anyway, and then within a couple weeks, they were getting good color. Now they look great. So anyway, I think that everybody should add that as much as they can. And any kind of thing that you can take care of yourself and that you can grow yourself, I think is so important, especially going forward with who knows what's going to be coming around the corner.
Well, that's amazing, Jeran. Are you growing any other fruit trees or any other?
We have 2 apple trees out there and 2 different types of peach, a miracle berry, and a mandarin orange and a lemon.
Awesome. See, that's really it. I mean, when I got into permaculture, it just was so revolutionary because it's the solution to almost everything.
Right.
There's some oversimplifications that all the problems in the world can be solved in a garden.
Yeah.
You know, this idea of like growing your own food is like the most revolutionary thing we can do. Because
no, I think that's it. That is the answer. And it makes us feel so much better to have all that stuff from home. Now, we didn't get apples this year, but we should next year. The tree's a little young. But yeah, both peach trees did really well this year. And it's what a learning process, though, to go through, because it's not, and I don't know if this was done on purpose or what, but it's not as easy as you would think. It's not just plant a seed and here grows your trees. And I think sometimes people might get that opinion. I think I had that opinion that, I'll just grow fruit trees in my backyard, everything will be fine. But it's not quite that easy because you do have to kind of baby these things a little bit. And I'm wondering if some of that was like almost bred into them so that it was harder for people to grow their own food. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Because we know that they can change, the characteristics of these plants. I just wonder how many things they made tougher to grow from home simply because they want you to go to the store and spend money.
No, you're right. I mean, so I've helped with some food forest projects. Are you familiar with a food forest?
No, tell me about it.
Yeah, so a food forest is that encapsulation of emulating a natural ecosystem, but instead of it being like a wild forest, it's intentional, and so you have like support species, like plants that are nitrogen fixing, because that's like the main nutrient, plants need for vegetative growth. Right. And then an understory, you have different fruit trees and you sprinkle in ground covers and vining plants and things like that. So the idea is that becomes a living seed bank for then people in the community to propagate those plants from and plant them at their homes, because kind of like what you're going through, I mean, you never know, like, where did the tree come from? Like when you bought those peach seeds, where was that peach in Georgia? Like, where was it? You know what I mean? Because no matter what, it takes a while for a plant to get what's called naturalized.
Makes sense.
It gets exactly. And that's like the whole idea where after a few generations of like, you get that peach, maybe you plant another one, you get peaches from that and you plant it again, it's become a little more adjusted, and not need. And a big part of permaculture gets in the soil, so sometimes it's not so much about fertilizer, it's just having like a lot of fertility in the soil. That's one of our biggest challenges here in Florida, because most of our soil is actually sand. So we have to add a lot of organic matter, but there's a great hack of just using mulch, of just putting mulch on top of the sand and letting chemistry and biology do its thing. And as it naturally breaks down, the sand will start turning into soil.
Let me ask you this. You seem very knowledgeable about this. So what would be the reason, because I can't figure it out, why would a peach tree grow too many peaches? So I guess what happens is if you just leave it by itself, it will grow too many peaches and then they won't ripen because there's way too many and they're too close together and they don't get enough of what they need. So they tell you basically when they're about the size of an almond or a little bit smaller, you want to go through and space them out every 6 inches and then you have this huge bounty. What do you think that reason is for? Like, why does it naturally do it?
Yeah, I appreciate your compliment. I mean, when it comes to peaches specifically, I haven't grown a lot of them, so I can't really speak from my own experience. But normally, if I'm really passionate about growing a particular crop, I like to find out, like, okay, who's growing this on scale? They're using, I hate to use the word sustainable or even organic, because it's not necessarily like focused on soil fertility, So it's like I try to figure that stuff out. I mean, to relate it to some other plants, like here, sometimes with mango and avocado, it's advised to cut the fruits when they're small because the energy of the plant is going towards fruiting instead of vegetative growth. And you want it to be, bigger. But then the other thing with us in permaculture, we don't want trees to always get full size because then it becomes quite an issue sometimes with maintenance.
Right.
Harvest fruits. And then, I can't even tell you how many times I hear people say like, oh, aren't you going to have a rat issue? You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are kind of, programmed with that. And that's not always the case. I mean, it's just about having a tree that is manageable that you
and it's fun to kind of learn that. And like you don't want your peach tree to get too tall because you're not going to be able to get the peaches down. Number one. So they have you keep it short, and then they have you do like this kind of a V shape so that the light gets into the middle of the tree and it kind of helps. So yeah, it's just I'm just saying there's a lot to learn, but once you get it, when you see I'm so happy with the peaches that we have out there. We probably have 200 peaches on that tree, and that's just going to be awesome.
Yeah, and especially for your children, because that's the vision where it's really a no-brainer, in my opinion, of incorporating permaculture and growing food into school, into elementary school.
Yeah, it's so stupid that wouldn't be taught. I mean, that's how you know school's a problem.
And don't even get me started. I'm sure when you look at what is served to children in school,
Great
teenagers
point.
At the cafeteria. I mean, this is like, this is supposed to be our future, right? We want the best and to really like.
I think Wednesday and Fridays at my grammar school, they would go pick up pizza from like Pizza Hut, and then people could buy Pizza Hut pizza. And it's like the greatest day for the kids there. Everybody was so excited and comes with money, and it's just terrible. I mean, it's just horrendous for you. And we wonder why everybody's fat and sick.
Exactly. And then to even give it a double whammy, look at the hospitals, what they serve as.
Good point. Wow, I never even thought about that.
I've seen like disclaimers at hospitals where they're telling people to avoid butter and instead use seed oils, and it's crazy because why, people at the hospital, they're supposed to be a trusted authority. And it's sad to think how some people won't even research that. They'll just be like, oh, the doctor said, don't eat butter, take vegetable oils instead. And it's like, it's just really interesting, but that's why I said solutions, all the world problems can appear so complex, but sometimes the solutions are embarrassingly simple.
Yeah, I think we've all known that too. I think everybody knows inside them. They know that gardening is important, that gardening is everything, that really you can solve all the problems, your health problems. And then not to mention the problem. I mean, right now you go to the grocery store, I don't care what they say inflation is, it's like literally twice as expensive as it was a couple years ago.
Exactly. And you may see right behind me, I actually have a moringa tree right there.
The little one there in the orange pot?
Yep. This one here, I can bring it closer.
Very cool.
Yep. So there's a little moringa. If you're not growing one, I'd highly recommend it.
I am not growing one. Yeah, you sell the seeds or the seedlings? I thought I saw on your site, or no?
I do. Yeah, I do both. I actually have right here. Here's a bunch of seeds.
Okay. I'll definitely. Yeah, I want to get that started.
So something fascinating, since I have the seeds in my hand, these seeds make an incredible oil that has industrial applications. It doesn't go rancid, so it can be used in like fine machinery or even like watches. But once you press that oil out of the seed, you're left with what's called a seed cake. And the seed cake contains natural flocculants, which will coagulate contaminants and even bacteria and harmful microorganisms in water, and can actually make unsafe water safe for drinking.
Yeah. So, oh, great! We've got some people in the audience that have taken it. Bought of some of this from Jeran. I have been taking 2 a day for about a month now, and I feel great. Thanks, Jeran. You're welcome. Thank you. It's awesome. I have not heard anything negative yet. A couple people really happy. A 61-year-old messaged me and said he thought his health would be going south from here on out, and he's starting to take the moringa and says that he no longer has to use his inhaler. I'm like, what? So, I mean, it's just insane. I don't know, again, if that's the cause of it. But
this is what energizes me, Jeran. This is why I started it, because to be frank with you, it really sounds refreshing when you're like, oh, I didn't hear about moringa. Because think about...
That's why I owe you a lot. I didn't know anything about it. I never even heard of it till months ago.
I learned about it in 2012, February, as part of my permaculture curriculum. And then we went, this was in Fort Myers, so I'm not sure if you know where Fort Myers is. Mm-hmm. It's on the Gulf Coast. It's just a couple hours south of where I live near Tampa. And Fort Myers has an organization called ECHO, which used to stand for Ending Children Hunger Organization.
Right.
It stands for Educational Concerns Humanitarian Organization. They're a Christian-based organization where their logo is the moringa leaf, enveloping earth. And it's a 70-acre research farm. And like the main crop they're growing is moringa. But what they do is they have missionaries go out to deprived places and like help improve their quality of life and nutrition with moringa and then other, beneficial plants like that. So that's where I got the seeds, learned about and everything, and got really passionate. But then the issue is, as I studied more and more permaculture, I became obsessed with exotic tropical fruits because I'm like, wow, for one, when you grow a fruit yourself, the flavor is just, it's undescribable compared to the store.
It's so different. Even the organic. I mean, we buy all organic, but still these peaches just destroy those.
Yeah. And our palates can get developed where, I've personally tasted at least 50 different mango varieties, probably 30 different avocados. So like there's different nuances. And then there's so many exotic fruits that frankly, if you don't grow it yourself, you can never really taste the deliciousness, but also get the unique nutrition. So, I mean, for example, one of my favorite fruits is called abiu. I don't know if you've heard about it.
How do you spell it?
It tastes like a creme brulee, like a caramel. It's like a fruit allegedly from the Amazon, but I'm not growing it here in Florida. But I've been interested in
How do you spell it?
It's abiu.
Okay.
It has like a yellow skin, and it's usually circular. And the fruit though inside is like translucent. And out in Hawaii, I had clients that would pay me to help them take care of their fruit trees and their gardens. So imagine it, man. I'm on my lunch break just under an abiu tree, munching away on like 6 or 7 abius, just in bliss, tasting like caramel. It's just amazing.
It's so cool too with what you said about kids too, because my son's 3, and to watch the whole process, he watched the whole process from the tree having nothing on it to it starting to have these little things, and we're telling him like, be nice to the tree. Don't, we're not pulling those off. Those are going to become peaches. And then for him to see it all come to fruition, he loves it. He loves to go grab a peach. And it's just awesome because I didn't have that kind of upbringing when I was a kid. I just didn't really put those things together.
Good for you, man. You're an incredible father from what I'm hearing.
Well, thank you. So the other thing that you mentioned real quick, you were talking about, okay, go ahead with your story. You were on the abiu tree.
Well, yeah, no, I was just talking about some of my favorite exotic fruits that sometimes, just like you hadn't heard of moringa, you've probably never heard of it. And there's dozens of those. So I like to actually categorize myself as what's called a fruit hunter, where I believe, especially since I have, an expanded worldview like you do, that there's fruits that need to be discovered somewhere out there, because that's kind of, there was a guy named Robert Fairchild, and obviously he was involved with, the government. And from my understanding, a lot of these heroes of mine that really helped to innovate botany and horticulture, they all ended up somehow being, Freemasons to a certain extent. We always have that same pattern, right? People. But anyways, if you look into Fairchild, out of any other American, he's credited with introducing more fruits to the United States than any other individual. So here in Florida, we have botanical gardens like named after him and so on. So these are people that, I've considered heroes in my life because I've researched them and how they would get paid to go to Asia and, India and explore and find rare, unique fruits and bring them back to America and figure out how they can thrive and grow here. And so that's why I'd like to have an expanded view. There was also Luther Burbank. You've probably heard of Burbank, California.
Yeah.
It was part of like a pilgrimage for me. I went to his Golden Gate research farm. He's no longer alive, but Burbank is credited with introducing almost 1,000 unique plant species because he was a plant breeder. So like he figured out how to breed like an apricot and a plum, and so many examples like that.
So many,
yeah, exactly. And, I do have a background. When I was in Hawaii, I had my permit to grow cannabis. And so that kind of opened the door to me of learning about genetics and breeding and the idea of like
that's funny. Yeah, that's what you learn, right? You grafting, all that stuff is splicing. You learn it from marijuana.
Sometimes I think bigger because when I think about sometimes people have unique health challenges and how they can have a specific strain, that's tailored to them. Because without getting too weird, there's a series of books called Anastasia based on this woman in Russia. And she has the method for planting seeds where you put the seed in your mouth because you want your DNA to get into the seed. So it's almost like you have a custom.
Wow. That is
so
awesome.
and it's something very special where like, this for one, seed needs a little warmth to start that germination process because, a lot of this comes back to free energy too. It's not like,
It's crazy.
Plant seeds and boom, the tree's mature and ready. But it's kind of looking at like, think about it. You planted one peach seed and now you have hundreds of fruits that each fruit has seeds. And, it doesn't take long to realize like,
oh, wow. Do it again. Right. But there shouldn't be any hunger in the world, right? There shouldn't be any. It's ridiculous.
No, man, don't get me started on that because trust me,
why doesn't everybody just go out and down Main Street, plant a bunch of peach trees, and then the homeless can eat from the damn peach trees? I mean, really, there should not be a person that goes to bed hungry at night. It's kind of ridiculous.
You're spot on, but think about what what you've shared with your viewers, myself. What is the space industry economy?
Yeah.
Think about it. And we have all this energy into that. And then the other thing,
nothing, yeah.
Think about the budget for war, it's like
and that's like multiple times over space. With space seems ridiculous in and of itself. But yeah, when you get into war, it's just ridiculous that money that they put into that.
Yeah, and it's sad because you may have heard, did you ever hear of the Victory Gardens? That was actually a big thing during World War II. It was encouraged for American citizens to have backyard hens, to grow their own garden. It was like a patriotic thing to do.
Right.
But now that gets suppressed kind of, and then we hear stupid things like the bird flu's coming. We gotta kill, nobody, because they get scared about the idea of people being self-reliant, and then
for sure
wanting to be dependent on daddy government to, take care of us, right?
Yeah, and once you get away from that stuff too, like I can smell chemicals now, which is weird because like if I walk into a place that's been cleaned with any kind of chemicals, I can right away tell because we don't do any cleaning with chemicals, or we don't even use like laundry soap. We don't use regular soap. We don't use deodorant. Just once you eliminate all those things, then you smell it. It's like terrible because it's just all garbage, all metal in there, and you're just putting it in your body. But I wanted to ask you, so mention again, because when you said this on your show, I'm like, what is this guy talking about? So you said that Moringa is so good at cleaning things that if you put it into like pee, it would make the pee drinkable. Or if you put it into like a contaminated water source, then it cleans it up or something. Explain that.
Yeah. So pee, I haven't looked into those details, but you could Google it right now. Like in places like Africa, they use moringa to make like malaria ridden water safe for drinking.
Wow.
And they actually, because like I'm saying, it's not just the seeds. Like one of the formulas I believe is you could have 4 crushed moringa seeds. So here's a bag of like 100, 4 crushed moringa seeds. You could easily have a 16-ounce bottle of water that was like dirty, muddy water, and you shake it up because that's what kind of gets the coagulation process going with the flocculants in the seeds. And then in about 30 minutes to an hour, the contaminants, the dirt, it'll all coagulate to a mass and kind of sink to the bottom. So then from there, if you're in an emergency, the water safe for drinking. But then obviously you could always, boil it or something to take it, a little bit more. But in our country, we use very harsh, toxic chemicals to treat water.
Bleach, chlorine, all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, we're more resilient than we realize because we can handle it. I mean, think about what you said. I went through it too, eating cereal and all this stuff. It's like our bodies are amazing, like what's going on.
But they only have, I think the way it works is you only have so much energy to repair yourself. And I think that's why people die young is that your body can get through anything. I mean, look at, I've always mentioned like alcoholics, right? Like an alcoholic can drink in a day what I would drink and die, right? Because I don't drink. So if I drank what they drink in a day, I would literally die. And yet they're able to just do it and maintain well, it's because your body learns to process it. And now, again, that person's going to probably die young. But it's amazing what our bodies can do. But I still think if you treat it right, I bet you can live like I don't even want to put a number on it. A very long time. Let's put it that way.
No, you're right. And we were talking earlier about Old World Florida. That's what's fascinated me, because after I lived in Hawaii and I had to study the history of Hawaii through becoming a docent for the National Tropical Botanical Gardens, I realized that allegedly when Europeans like Captain Cook made contact with the natives, he said they were some of the strongest, healthiest people he had ever seen. So then I brought that curiosity back to Florida, and I'm like, I want to better understand what the natives were like here before European contact. So thanks to Longo at Old World Florida, he's brought up like different accounts saying that some of these natives were like 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall. They were 200 years old. Their father was 250 years old. And it's really interesting, you know.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. I really don't. I don't think that that's a far stretch. And no, that's awesome. So you've worked with Old World Florida, and I know you're into this community. So what is your thoughts on the shape of the Earth? Just because I'm sure that would help some people watching.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I've done my best to try to substantiate these specific claims affiliated with spinning impossible. And, I bought a laser myself because, Florida's pretty flat. And a day like today, the bodies of water are flat. And even though I only had a couple miles, I mean, it's straight.
You don't need much. Hey, that's awesome. So that's great. And your podcast, I know the very first person that was on your podcast was Dave Weiss, right?
Correct. And just so you know, Jeran, do you remember you were just on the Freedom Hub?
Yep, you were there. I saw you.
So it was because of Charlie. Charlie had Dave Weiss on Freedom Hub last year. So then in January of this year, Charlie made a report of his most viewed shows and guests.
Right.
And then Dave Weiss was his most viewed. So that I didn't start looking into Flat Earth seriously until January of this year. And it didn't take me, because I started watching. The first exposure of mine to Flat Earth Dave was him on Freedom Hub. Because, to kind of backtrack, Charlie was a mentor for me. He got me into lobbying. We worked together for the National Health Federation. I was actually on the board of governors when we hired Charlie, because he has 30 years of experience working in government affairs. He used to be a staffer for Ron Paul. And and then I ended up becoming a lobbyist in 2022 for health and freedom as well, to kind of, do that. So it's funny. But anyways, after I watched that interview of Dave Weiss on Freedom Hub, I then watched the, 5-hour lost history of Flat Earth.
Oh, huh?
Yeah, but I had a friend in Kauai who I stay in touch with. He's going to be on Truth Lab. He was the first person to really pique my curiosity about this. And this was in, I believe, 2018. And what was beautiful, Jeran, is I didn't ridicule him. I didn't have any cognitive dissonance. It was just kind of like, wow, nobody else has really brought this up to me. And I think I've mentioned, maybe I've shared with you, I know I've shared with Dave, I was a volunteer assistant for Nassim Haramein in Kauai. So
okay.
He's an astrophysicist, so I was kind of, it's just how it is. And my mom has been a science teacher most of her life. I was a straight A student, but
when things don't add up, right? And Nassim is the one who made the graphic that shows the spiraling sun, right? That's Nassim's, right? Yeah, thought so.
Yep, I know.
Incredible.
The thing, what you have to do, and this, is follow the money. So like when I was working with him, he got a big grant from some autocrat in Brazil. And if you look into Brazil, it's really interesting, because from my understanding, there's like almost 20 million people there that understand the world is flat. But then you would always think that maybe certain people up high don't want that, and they fund someone like Nassim that's kind of like, talking about flower of life and ancient civilizations, but then is kind of
to push away from that,
people, so. But I've been working hard. I'm supposed to have another meeting with Foster Gamble soon, the producer of the Thrive documentaries.
Yeah,
because I'm trying to share with him the implications of this, because he told me he spent 2 months researching this, and that his conclusion was it was a CIA psyop. And I told him, I'm like, I already thought that. Yeah, I thought that too. A lot of us did, but
it seems very weird that it would be a psyop. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but who knows? I've heard that too. As far as, I just want to mention real quick that when I made my own product here, or my own branded product, it was kind of funny because I went through, did a bunch of research studying, and then I put whatever I wanted on the back of the package. And then I sent it to you, and you came back and told me, oh, you have to remove these couple things. And I'm like, what? Why? I did research on it. I saw it. Well, really, the reason is because the FDA says, right, that only pharmaceutical companies, only pharmaceutical drugs can cure things. So you're not allowed to say, despite what the reports may say, despite what you may see in some scientific test, you're not allowed to say that it cures cancer or has been shown to cure cancer. You can't even say that on the package. It's crazy. So the package has on the back finally what's allowed, but I had a few more things on here that they stopped me because they said, no, you can't say that because you're not a pharmaceutical company. That's crazy.
Yeah, because you never want to get like a cease and desist or something where the FDA,
No.
because people did that during COVID, whether it was colloidal silver or other supplements. They'd say this can cure COVID, and then boom, they get threatening letters, and it's just unfortunate that we have to deal with stuff like
But I like that they pointed out, because I think once people see the problems with big pharma, and then you say something like that, it kind of helps people to see what's going on. I mean, really, the fact that only pharmaceutical companies who have all stood up in court and admitted to fraud, only they can cure diseases, not plants, which God gave us that probably don't have to stand in court and admit to fraud. I don't think the moringa tree is going to have to do that anytime soon. But yeah, so I mean, some of the things I've heard, and you tell me what else you've heard. Just on the back of my package, I have written that it's got 7 times the vitamin C, and this is a gram for gram. Moringa has 7 times the vitamin C as oranges, 4 times the beta carotene as carrots, 3 times the iron as spinach, 4 times the calcium in milk, 2 times the protein in milk, 3 times the potassium in bananas, more fiber than oats. What other things have you heard? That's crazy.
Yeah, so there's a measurement called ORAC. It stands for oxygen reduction absorption capacity, and it's a measure of antioxidant potential and efficacy. So moringa actually is known as the world's highest ORAC food.
Didn't know this.
And so the way I simplify it, Jeran, I'm sure you've heard with cannabis, there's something called the entourage effect. Have you heard about that?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so the entourage effect is how, imagine like if you had a concentrate or something that wasn't full spectrum. So the entourage comes from the interaction of all the different compounds working in synergy together. So it's the same idea with moringa. So because moringa contains 92 nutrients, your body is absorbing those 92 nutrients together. So they work in synergy together.
Wow.
And so that's what measurement is. Yeah. So, it's certain things that are up there similar to moringa. It's like spirulina contains a lot of nutrients, as well too. And so, but for some reason, moringa just has this great ORAC score.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't know that. So it's a number 1 then.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I do have it's been a while, but I sometimes have set up shop like a little booth, and I do have, could have brought it or put it in my background, but it's older, where I have different diagrams and charts, and I have like moringa being compared to like cacao or pumpkin seeds with the ORAC.
Right. Score. No, that's awesome. And the ORAC you said is ORIC? Is that the scores?
ORIC. But the problem is it's something through the USDA, and as we already know,
right, that's the problem.
It's the USDA, the FDA, they're owned by the companies that they're supposed to regulate. And so unfortunately, big food, industrial, agriculture, it's all in cahoots with big pharma. They don't want people to be healthy because, think about how
hurts their business.
Think about how many arguments could be avoided when people are just balanced, and they don't fall for the whole right versus left.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen it before. Like when you're sick you remember how irritable you are and how you are upset at people and yelling. It's almost like everybody's sick when there's this arguments going on. That's like if you're not feeling well, you're not going to take things well. You're not going to take somebody else's opinion well. So I think, man, it all comes back to health. I was just seeing this thing over here that says, that we should be like a tree, but I was just going to say the moringa tree, every part of it is useful, huh?
It is, yeah. Offhand, I'm trying to think like what I know. I know the not just useful, like most of them can be edible too.
Right, like the roots, the leaves, the bark, the branches, everything.
Bark can be used as like a type of neosporin, basically, for wound healing and stuff like that. And that's why I recommend growing it, because I get into like...
Yeah, I'm going to get a seed from you.
Yeah, I get into the spirituality of plants where, remember, what do we need as people? We need to breathe. We need clean air. You may see I have house plants around me because for some people, the air inside their home is like up to 10 times or more toxic than the air outside,
right,
you know?
Outside.
If someone doesn't live in an area that has a lot of trees.
Mm-hmm.
So I get into like, you know, I started Moringa Man because, you know, I'm driving around as well and I'm at like a stoplight and I kind of get, in Hawaii, we call them chicken bumps. Here they're called goosebumps. And I look out my, you know, the side and I see a moringa tree blowing in the wind. You know what I mean? I'd have all these experiences.
That's awesome.
Now I have hundreds of plants in my my garden here, and there's times when I'm just, you know, it's part of my meditation when I'm just focused on breathing and just being grateful for health. Yeah. And then this where it's not just, you know, taking oxygen from the moringa tree or from plants, they breathe in our carbon dioxide. That's why, remember, what's one of the biggest scams in the world right now? It's the carbon.
Carbon's a problem. We got to get rid of the carbon. Yeah.
They couldn't do the, you know what, tracking passport. So now, everyone will be tracked for your carbon footprint.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad because there's environmentalists that don't, you know, critically think fully, and they just herd, and they don't realize that this has nothing to do with like healthy habitat, you know. And luckily, we had someone like, you know, Bobby Kennedy, you know, who mentioned like during the time of his father and uncle, 5% of Americans had chronic disease. Now we're up 50%, and it's like we've reached this point, man, where it's like
it's a breaking point, really. I mean, kids are now being damaged. We have, you know, how many are being born with autism and things that, you know, there's a serious problem, and they just ignore it. They just kind of gloss over it, like, just something new. But yeah, those things are. And by the way, you don't sound crazy to me at all, because I told my we've done it. We've done it. I've told people about it, and people have called me and said, hey, I would never tell anybody, but I did it and it worked. So it's crazy. I do think there is a spiritual nature to it.
It's amazing. And like I mentioned, Moringa's from India, but it's traveled all over the world. So I never want to, you know, exaggerate. I want to be as precise as possible. But to my knowledge, it's almost that like in 100 languages or somewhere around there, Moringa is known as the never die tree, the miracle tree, the tree of life, you know, because of the fact that it's such a resilient tree, like the fact that there's an arborist technique called coppicing where you cut a tree flush with the ground. Mm-hmm. And then you do that with moringa and it just will get more vigorous. It's like every time you cut it, it just stimulates more growth. Even on commercial settings, sometimes they do such dense planting, the tree never makes like a lot of bark. It just will make these fresh green leaves all the time. And so it's interesting because what happens if we get those genetics in us, you know, and that's what I have been passionate about when I studied Hawaii, this idea of these bulletproof plants that just have incredible genetics. Like the Hawaiians, the ancient Hawaiians said their ancestors were the taro plant or the kalo plant. The taro plant can withstand, you know, hurricane winds. Its leaves can be ripped off. It's mainly a corm, so it's kind of like a root and it grows under the ground. And there could be a flood that doesn't go away for like a month. But as soon as it goes away, the taro regenerates. Wow. And so interesting to think about what if we get that type of, you know, information, genetics in us. And that's been why I'm not just passionate about moringa, but I'm passionate about, you know, being the world's best moringa. Because if you go to Amazon, and trust me, I've done this.
I've seen it.
Well, I should do like a proper article and video of actually like, you know, looking at the different colors, you know, saying like, oh, this one is a year and a half old, you know, and so on, because it's not the same, you know, and so that's why it's important. And I could get overwhelmed of trying to like focus on all these different Ayurvedic plants, but I've just really put my energy into moringa. You know, but the same thing, there's other plants like ashwagandha, other ones, but you want to always make sure, you know, you have a good supplier, because that's like the bottom line. When you have that disconnect where here I am, you know, like how we met. And
I think it's important too for people who are not healthy right now to never get overwhelmed. It's what happened to me at the beginning is you hear all these different things and I was just overwhelmed and kept dismissing everything. And it happened for me, at least because Dave Weiss sent me a water distiller. And when he did, okay, I'll start there. And then I'm amazed, just like, wow, what a difference. But as you kind of just take little steps, I changed my water. Okay, now once I was feeling healthier because of that, it's like, well, what do I want to do next? What do I want to do next? And you keep getting closer and closer to health. All right, so he has to leave pretty soon. I know that we don't have him for very long, so I wanted to just see if anybody's got a question for him. If you ask in the chat right now, just at me so I can see it, at Jeranism in the chat, and we will ask him those questions. Be like a tree, though. I think you can stay grounded, right? The trees stay grounded. Connect with your roots, very important. Turn over a new leaf when you need to do that. Bend before you break, very important. And enjoy your unique beauty, and then always keep growing. So let's see if we've got anybody. Cut out carbs, very important, I think, unless you're working out or trying to build muscle. You probably want to put those back in. But yeah, I've never felt better. I'm at the lowest weight since way before I was married at this point. And feeling better. And I don't feel 44 one little bit. I don't feel 24, but I don't feel 44. Let's see here if anybody, maybe there's no questions. Might be easy. So yeah, you can get it at my site, and I call it the Tree of Life Raw Organic Moringa. And it comes in, what was this, 400 milligram veggie capsules. There's 100 count. The recommended per day is 2, so it's about 50 days worth. Or does he have a YouTube channel or Facebook? Yes, in the description you should see he's got a YouTube channel under his name, at Alex Landry, and then one under at what's on the screen, Truth Lab Wisdom. See right below his name? That is his YouTube. Walk a lot, very important. I'm not even somebody who would say ever to run. I don't know if you necessarily need to do that. It's probably not very good for you. You might need to do it in case you need to be in a race or you're going to run away from a person. But otherwise, make sure you walk. Adam, who's a great guy in my VIP, really turned me on to walking for 10 minutes after you eat, every time you eat. So that's something we've added. Awesome topic and guest, says God, the Son, Jesus Christ saves. Thank you very much. So wait, Jeran, are you keto now? No. Nope. Nope. I think that and that's another thing. I think I've always had a problem with like calories. I've never understood the counting calories thing, because it's like that's the equivalent of saying all bodies are the same, which they're not. Right? You have to, depends on how fast you burn calories. That's not all the same. Somebody says, I've got Moringa powder. How to take it? So Vibrant Frequency says, I've got Moringa powder. How do I take it?
So if she just has powder, what I recommend is either an orange juice or apple juice, because that's like most people have that. And if you don't, then just a little spring water, and then whatever your favorite sweetener is, and it can make like a green tea. And like literally think about it. If there's 800 milligrams in 2 of the capsules, that's not even a gram, so just putting less than a gram in some water and then just shaking it up. And it's comparable to matcha, but matcha contains caffeine where moringa doesn't, but you do get energy from moringa because it's from the nutrition. There's a lot more nutrition in moringa than matcha. And I don't know if you looked at matcha pricing, but matcha can get pretty expensive. But
thank you for that. We've got Ruth says she's 63 and feels great. Fantastic. That is a very good thing. We've got any tips for an underactive thyroid gland? They're asking you that, I think.
Oh, well, I mean, I have some random tips. So I'm big into something called Kundalini Yoga. That's actually something that Charles and I from Freedom Hub have in common. So anytime you press your tongue on the roof of your mouth, it can basically stimulate the pituitary gland, and then that works with like the thyroid gland, being a master gland. So sometimes there's different little techniques like that. And then to my knowledge, like iodine supplements can really help with the thyroid function.
Great. Ruth, I do have the capsules on my site if you go to shop.jeranism.com. We've got, see if there's anybody else here. Don't get me started. Okay. We've got, I heard the pronunciation is Maroon Guy. Heard from Dr. Shiva, so maybe they say it like that in India. Do you know anything about the pronunciation?
Yeah, you can say it that way. I mean, technically, the botanical Latin name is Moringa Oleifera. There's 13 species in the Moringa genus, and Oleifera is the most like nutrient dense.
Gotcha.
And some from there though, there's subspecies. Just like I said earlier about there's 100 varieties of mango. That's not a.
Somebody's asking. I guess I have the same question too. How long does it take for the tree to be grown before you can harvest something from it? You said about 3 years, or no?
No, not even that long. So usually the seed will germinate within 7 to 10 days, And then as you see here, this is just in a small little pot. Like these leaves are fine. This actually, if you look closely, this was the main tree, but I cut that back and then it shot up new growth here. So literally you can go from as soon as the moringa seed sprouts, so you plant it, takes 7 to 10 days to grow. In less than 2 weeks after that, you can start harvesting.
Wow, what the hell? All right.
And for me, there's a lot of people, a lot of us, we're active people, we're on the go. So the capsules are just super convenient. But I do have my own capsule maker. Because what I do, like, I also sell bulk. So like, here's we call them in Florida a white grouper, a kilogram.
Get caught pulling a bunch of those in your trunk. Good luck.
But anyway, so I have a capsule maker right in front of me. It's like $40 on Amazon, and it's just a manual capsule maker. So then I fill the powder in that, and that's how I make it. So sometimes this is like, it's a disadvantage to me because I'm selling the capsules, but then I teach people how they can do it themselves and how to do their own tree. But I understand we're all busy people, so that's why sometimes the capsules are easy and on the go. And
Mike Proc wants to know where he can buy the seeds. Do you sell the seeds on your site?
I'm not selling them right now, but I can. I sell the live plant on my website, but there's times I throw in. I mean, I'm trying to direct most people when it comes to capsules to buy from you. So maybe I'll figure out a way to get you some seeds or something. Because there's times, I mean, the seeds are so small. I've made little baggies, and sometimes just as a promo, I give away.
Very good. Oh, nice here. All right. See if there's anything else here. Sweet stuff. 8th consecutive case. I don't see anything else. There we go. Is moringa edible only, or can you smoke it?
I don't know about smoking it. No, I don't.
I don't know either about it. There is some stuff. It's called mulane. You ever heard of that? Mulane? I think you can smoke that. I know it helps people with asthma. Believe it or not. I know it doesn't sound right, but
they call moringa color moon guy, like color moon guy, but it's like that's the Filipino way of saying.
Gotcha. I don't know what Eric means. Eric says, ask him about doing a dosing trial at some old folks' home. Don't know what that means. Dosing trial?
It means like maybe
give a bunch of moringa to old people and see if they die? What does he mean? What dosing trial means?
The problem though, Jeran, remember, both of us, we have to always advise people like we're not doctors.
No, not at all. We are not the pharmaceutical companies. We cannot cure disease, nor do we know about curing diseases.
Because sometimes you have to understand when people are on pharmaceutical pills, they have to tell their doctor when they introduce like a new.
That's true, because it can affect some of the medications you might be taking,
especially like blood thinners and blood pressure, because moringa is known to clean the blood
naturally. Blood cleaner, yeah. Exactly,
but then the issue is it could mess up something. So
your goal should be to get off all pharmaceuticals, and I know a lot of people think that they can't, or that they, I know that they're addicting. So once you're on something, or a antidepressant, or maybe a heart medication or something, but I'm just saying that's. My ultimate goal would be to never take anything. I haven't taken a Tylenol in 9 years, or anything else.
Helping my friend John run for mayor. He's 77. He's on absolutely no pharmaceuticals at all. So stuff like that.
Landry, I am not keto or carnivore, but I'm thinking Dave Weiss just went on the carnivore diet again, or something close to that. I might try it, but I just try and eat a little bit of everything. I think everything's good in moderation. But I don't eat anything other than steak or ground beef or salmon. Is liver and kidneys not a good enough blood cleaner then? Well, it depends what you put through it. I mean, if you've done drugs your whole life and your kidneys aren't working great.
That's the idea. It's helping support the natural.
Yeah. Sarah knows. Sarah's really cured a lot of her stuff by going back to nature. She does makes a tea in the morning. She showed me all the things that go into it. It's incredible. But yeah, people I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, I went back to nature and it sucks. I hate it." No, everybody who goes back there can't speak highly enough about it. So, Sarah says same thing. It's been 3 years for her. All right. Well, we should probably let you go. Let me tell people where they can find you if they want more information, and if they want to buy the tree, or if they want to get your powder or capsules, tell them where they can find you. And I appreciate you coming on.
It's themoringaman.com. And then my personal YouTube is Alex Landry. Going back a few years ago, I made some promo videos for Moringa. and I've made some cool permaculture related videos. And I started around May with my Truth Lab podcast, and that got launched with Flat Earth Dave. And then I had Old World Florida, Dr. Narco Longo, and then I had Jeran. He was the last person I interviewed. And now I actually have another one scheduled at 5 o'clock today. So I'm going to just try to stay consistent with that.
Yeah, I think that is should be everybody's goal. You should get your water cleaned, because that's the thing. They put chemicals, chlorine, bleach, and everything. I've seen some examples. There was a guy who came over trying to sell us a reverse osmosis machine at one point, but he did something with the water. It was insane. It was like to show how much chlorine was in the water. I was shocked. It's gross. You got to fix all those things. Anything else you want to tell people? Spell that website. The Moringa, Moringa, man.com.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Andrew B, we got trivia tomorrow. We'll talk about that in 1 second. Go ahead.
Like I told you, Jeran, I mean, I've done public speaking on Moringa, and just like I did this, I just kind of, play it by ear, but I do need to kind of condense it into some type of little, presentation, like a quick little 15-minute or something, because some visuals and
with some graphics, some nice stuff. Because there's enough. I mean, you can find the information out there, and it's one of those things where even if you find the scientific documents, they're all pro. I mean, I don't find any problems. I haven't seen anything bad about it. So the good information's out there, and if you put together a nice presentation, I'll have you back if you want. We'll talk about it again.
Are you planning on going to Flattoberfest?
I'm not this year, no. It's right around my son's birthday. His birthday's 25th. So no, the plan is, as of right now, not going. But I know a lot of people are. Almost everybody's going that I know I've talked to. I know, it should be a good turnout. I think it's supposed to be the last one. I know Karen said that before, but it's supposed to be a pretty big event. I think the tickets or sales are going well. If people haven't bought their tickets yet, you can use Jeranism as a coupon code and get 10% off.
Awesome. Well, cool. Yeah, I'm just all about eventually trying to just meet people in person,
Yeah, and you know what? In fact, my Moringa pills will be at Flattoberfest. So
awesome.
I've got Eric, who's one of my VIPs, who is going to be manning a table there with some packages of the Tree of Life Moringa. So if people want to wait till then to get it, you don't shave much on shipping because I don't charge for shipping anyway. But if you're from another country, I guess you would save the shipping money by spending $2,000 on a plane ticket and getting over here. Then you can get it without shipping. So you maybe not.
He like Jeran, because he learned about this and he took his inspiration into action, and that's what it's all about, And
I was very happy with the supplier that we have. It's out of India, and everything's grown organically, and they've been doing it for years, and so I'm really happy. Couldn't be happier with it, and it's great to not have anybody no problems so far. So that's good.
Yeah, and like I may have mentioned, my buddy that I was living with when I started this, he's big into the kratom industry. He actually
kratom, yeah, I've heard of that stuff.
Just got back. He was with a delegation with the American Kratom Association. He just went over to Indonesia. And so he's, so that's why he kind of inspired me. But then I'm like, you know what? I get it, because kratom, can provide that pain relief and sometimes be viewed as a natural high. But I'm like, I'm going to do the same thing, but for nutrition, because like I'm telling you, my vision, I just got to stay consistent. When I got into this 8 years ago, I was trying to book appointments, meetings with a cafeteria manager for schools around here, and trying to work my way up to regional decision maker. And, how do I get them to buy moringa powder to maybe you can put it in the tomato sauce. Like there's ways that you can just put
they probably want nothing to do with that.
Little amount, so it doesn't really affect the flavor, but it's at least boosting the nutrition. And then to be like, hey, can't you plant a moringa tree, outside, and then the kids learn about it? So
and how'd that go? Did they just turn you down?
Basically, it's like, Moringa Man has really taught me about perseverance, because it's been so much. I mean, I've tried to get into Whole Foods, and it's just like gatekeepers, and then I have to follow up. I mean, I've sent out so many free samples to people, and then it's like I got to follow up to be like, oh, what'd you think of the sample? Are you ready to place an order? And then even now, I don't know if you've tried to do this, Jeran, but I'm in stores around here, and sometimes, they just want to work off consignment to begin with, but it's still a way to get my, foot in the door. And then from there, it's... No,
I haven't really thought much beyond trying it once. I said, I'll try this. It'll be my first product that I'm putting my name on and see how it goes. But it's done okay. I mean, it's done okay. It's, you have to bring it up all the time, as always is the case. People forget it. They won't think about it unless I bring it up on shows. But I think it's doing well. And as long as it's as good as it's been for me, like if I bought this and felt like this with it, I would buy it again. So that's just me. I think that's always a great way. If you get return customers, you're doing something right. So no, I've not tried to put it in any stores or anything like that yet.
Okay. Well, because I think I've told you there's a few health food stores that they buy it in bulk from me, not the capsules, but the powder.
Okay.
And then use it in their juice bar. So then when people get a smoothie, they can put an add in of moringa. And then I even shared with them a latte. So people buy a moringa latte. I used to have, when I would sell the powder in like a 300-gram bag, I would have that recipe on there. And it's basically a matcha latte, but instead of matcha, it's moringa.
Wow.
These health, not only do they sell it in their juice bar deli, they have a bulk spice section where they'll sell like bulk turmeric,
right?
And then they moringa them.
Wow.
Yeah.
You truly are the Moringa man. That's awesome.
Not knowing fruit, because sometimes you reach a point where people want you to, they only want to deal with the distributor, like a person in between. So
right.
I try to with the local family-owned health food stores, because unfortunately, man, some of them could go into extinction with what's happening.
Oh, for sure.
Amazon, Whole Foods, and trying to do all that.
It's like all family-run restaurants. Most of them are gone. COVID, at least in my city, COVID took out all the mom and pops. They're just gone. And then, of course, right after COVID, we got a Olive Garden and a Chili's where they're paying servers minimum wage and crazy. I need some pills. I live in San Jose, and I can bring some blunts to buy your product. Alvin, the Earth is Sly Wilson. All right, that's a good trade. You can check that out on the site or reach out on Telegram at Jeranism. All right, any final words for you, or I'll let you go? I know you got another interview coming up.
I appreciate, like I said, Jeran, I appreciate people that are inspired but take action, and and I'm here to support you. And if anything, I need to just like I said, turn it into like a 15-minute quick little presentation, and then from there, just to make it easier for everybody to really understand all the great benefits of this plan, But I think I've hopefully encouraged you. I'll figure out a way to get you some.
No, I'm going to try the seeds, and I'm going to do what you said about putting them in your mouth. I think that's a great idea. One of the things that's my next health thing that I'm looking at is I've got a AquaCure Brown's gas machine that somebody had one that they bought for a family member, and the family member died before they ever used it. So like, can I send it to you? I'm like, absolutely. It's a very expensive machine, but it's one of the same kind of ideas where it's supposed to be that you drink this hydrogen water and your body tells it where to go, where it needs fixing. It's just kind of the same thing you talked about. That it's almost like custom made for you. Very awesome. So that'll be my next thing I'll be talking about, I'm sure, depending on if it works or not. We'll see.
In touch and
yeah, definitely it will. And I'm going to reach out to you because I'm going to want either the plant or the seed soon. So I'll reach out later today.
All right. Well, sounds good. And thanks everybody on Jeranism. Appreciate your question.
Appreciate it. And again, check him out at Truth Lab Wisdom. And that's his @ right there. So you can find him on YouTube and check out those podcasts. Thanks a bunch. We'll let you go. All right. Bye. Guys, that was Alex Landry. And Landry, I know Landry Chamberlain's in the chat. It's so funny because I was thinking to myself, hey, I haven't talked to Landry in a while when I saw it today. And sure enough, he shows up in the chat. And the first thing he says is, hey, this guy's got a pretty cool last name. Pretty funny. Pretty funny. Let me get that off the screen real quick. And I'll just tell you about what's coming up this week. And we'll talk just for a second. Where is that at? Where is his name? There it is. All right. Get that out of there. There we go. All right. And we do have a new show coming tomorrow, starting tomorrow at 4:20 p.m. Pacific time. And I'll give you just a little hint of the awesome intro.
Welcome everybody.
Oh, it's coming up. It's coming up tomorrow.
Yeah. Big up to the conspiracy music guru. Soft smoker joint from the road kit. Mike from THE take up and hit. Melodome's asking is higher than the sky. Jeran is the joint, then he pass to the next guy. Then we gonna spin the wheel like conspiracy.
All right, that's enough.
Where it stops, wait and see. Wait and see.
Thank you, Conspiracy Music Guru, for another fantastic intro. That's coming tomorrow. That is called Reefer Roulette. We changed the name. If you heard me earlier this week, we had a different name. We changed it. We went to a Reefer Roulette instead. And we're looking forward to that. What that's going to be is tomorrow we're going to, it's myself, Sov from Sovereign Soul, Unchained Mind, Austin Thompson from the Melodome, and Mike from THC. We'll all be kicking back, have a little smoke, and then we're going to spin the wheel of conspiracy. And when we do that, I'll give you an example of that now. The first 2 times I've done it on my show have turned out to be not great topics, so we're hoping this one's better. Hold on, I got to add a scene. And the scene is called letter E. There we go. Oh, that's going to work. It'll work for now. So there is the wheel of conspiracy there. And basically what we've got on there is a whole bunch of things that people have added themselves. And then some things we added ourselves. That's all conspiracies and related topics on that wheel. I know it's hard to see. And then we give it a spin. And we'll find out what we're going to talk about. And we've got, it'll be 15 minutes on the clock. Let's see what it ends up at. Fake. It's a fake space. Oh. Let's see what it would have been if this was tomorrow. Stop.
Boxers vs. Briefs.
Oh, Boxers vs. Briefs. That's a good topic right there. So that's 0 for 3 on good conspiracy topics on the wheel. But it'll be fun because we're going to be high and it's going to be 15 minutes that we got to talk about whatever it lands on. In this case, it would be Boxers versus Briefs. So that's what somebody said. You know, what are you going to do? It's all your guys' ideas, not mine. So that'll be tomorrow at 4:20 p.m. Pacific time. And that should be fun. And then also we've got a $50 prize pool. As long as you don't play if you don't have PayPal or Cash App. We're making that as a rule so that nobody plays anyway and it's just like, oh, well, can you do this? Can you send it to my friend? You know, it's a nightmare. So we're just saying you have to have it to play to win. If you don't have it, you don't get to win. But we're going to have 3, I believe we agreed on 3 secret words throughout the show. And if you are the first one to call one of those out when it's said, then you will be one of the 3 winners. And then at the end of the show, we've got a wheel like this that has only 3, actually it has 4. It'll have 4 different slots, 2 very small slots, which are for carryover, and then a spot for each person. So what we'll do is spin it once. If it lands on the carryover, which will be very rare because it's just a small slice, that will move the $50 into next week, and nobody wins, or else it's one of the 3 people who will take home the entire pot. And then to grow the pot each time, we're just going to try and make it half of the super chat money will go to the next week. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe we get $7 in super chats and it's a $3.50 following week, which, hey, it's still a win. Still something for you guys. So we have that coming up. Somebody said in the chat earlier, they said, I thought all your shows were going to be members only. That is not the case. What I've said is that just the Jeranism show, so the show that I usually do on Friday, that is going to be having some changes. So I'm not 100% sure when some of this stuff will happen, but it will be soon. That show will be going to more of a strict layout, if you will, or more of a structured layout, and it'll be changing a lot. So that'll be coming. Also, if you guys remember Jeranism Monday Night Raw, something I used to do a long time ago, that's coming back, but that's going to be for VIP only. There's a lot of personal stuff, I guess, or stuff that just has never seemed right for me to talk about on YouTube. That just really, a couple people maybe heard me talk about it, but not a lot. So those things will be moving to a Monday night podcast for VIPs. But if you are looking for the Jeranism show on Fridays, as long as you are on Rockfin, it'll be on Rockfin, the full show. Or if you're a VIP, obviously you'll get a link in the VIP on Telegram. Or if you're a channel member, so if you're looking, well, what's the cheapest way I can still catch that stuff? It would be the channel member, I think is $4.99. Oh, did you guys see, isn't there some new, I bet you, you know what? Did anybody see the new emojis? Isn't there the new emojis on here? Or are they not there yet? Oh yeah, so some of them are there. Although I do have to change them because this one, it doesn't work anymore. Couch Lock is supposed to be for the Couch Lock Chronicles, which is has been renamed. So I got to fix that one. Okay, I got a space is fake. Shill. Thank you, Tony Corliss. No shill, no shill. That's great. No globe. There's a good one. I don't know what the X is for. Just X. X. I don't know. Anyway, those are all there. Clown face. Not a Professor Dave. NASA sucks. There you go. All right. Rofkin, as my wife calls it. My favorite one ever, Ether, was my grandparents used to say, you kids and your frickin' Nintendo. All you guys do is want to play that Nintendo. It's like, what did you call it? Your Nintendo. Oh, my Nintendo. Okay. We'll turn off the Nintendo. I promise. It's sad how mean we were to our grandparents. I remember my grandma said one of the greatest things ever, too. This is actually something I believe in fully, is never to go to bed on a quarrel. But when my grandmother told us that for years, my sister and I would just run around the house like laughing at her, saying like, never go to bed on a squirrel, never go to bed on a squirrel. I don't know. But anyway, it was actually good advice. You should never go to bed on a quarrel. get into that habit and you'll never hate your wife. She'll never hate you because you'll be good friends. Anything in the chat going on? So like I said, what do we have coming up? Tomorrow, we've got, first there'll be trivia at 2 p.m. Pacific. That's over on the Mellow Dome. That'll be a battle of all battles. It'll be Mark Sargent against Patricia Steer. So Metatron versus the CIA. It's a joke. It's a joke. Attention all watchers, that is a joke. I've seen on other channels, they're showing, Patricia Steer came up to me at one of these conferences and said, say hi to everybody and tell them that it's your anniversary and what 11/11 means. And I was like, 11/11, I'm a Mason, I'm a Freemasonic shill. People take that, and then, what is going on the screen over there? Oh, I didn't even know that wheel put a bar down my screen. Like, that's weird. Where's that coming from? Get rid of that. Sorry, that's weird. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, you can't even joke with these people anymore. You can't even joke, or else people take you seriously. When it should be obvious. Here we go. It's better. Should be obvious when somebody's joking. So when I just said Metatron versus the CIA, that's a joke because people used to say Mark was owned by Metatron, or I don't know. It's a bunch of nonsense. And Patricia, her last name or first name, Patricia, is spelled CIA at the end. And automatically, anybody who's ever been named Patricia is clearly an employee for the CIA. So you should know that. Should go without saying. The freaking Nintendo Mike Tyson Punch-Out made our soccer field lose 80% of players daily. My friend got that Nintendo and we got in an argument. That was one of the best games. I did enjoy that boxing. If you do that, dose 6 to 7 capsules, weight, powder, in grams. What does it say? Oh, I didn't read that part. I had a kilo shipped to Maui from the woman I got it from. You can't beat her quality or prices. Highly recommend her to people who like. So yeah, I thought Kratom was for. Thank you very much. Sarah says you're the best. I agree. I mean, well, that's rude to say. It's a little cocky. The people that do like Kratom, I thought Kratom was to get off of drugs. So I don't know if there's people addicted to it. That's not a good thing, right? I don't think it's a good thing. Although it's another plant. I do think it is a plant. I've never tried it either. Thanks, Jeran, for all you do. All right, just checking if there's anything else in the chat here or anything we need to talk about. So like I said, tomorrow, let's watch trivia at 2 p.m. Mark versus Patricia, and that goes towards Crumb, Chris Crumb. He also had a stream last night. If you haven't checked that out, it was one of those marathon streams. I was on there for a little bit at the beginning. Rose was on there. I saw Lowry on there. I saw Andrew B on there. Is Andrew B in the chat? Andrew B, are you still here? I want to make sure we have the date right. We're going to do a meetup. Where's Andrew B? Is he still here? Kratom does a few things. Yeah, so I got to learn about that more. I'm addicted to placebos. Nice. I used it for anxiety and energy boost, and I didn't drink on it. Okay. Hi from Canada. Hello. I used it to get off of Suboxone, and it really helped a lot. Nice. I've seen it for sale at like liquor stores. I know it's probably not the ones you want to get. Is there anything else here that I need to see? Thank you. You mean like a fight? Huh? Quarrel. Yeah, it's never go to bed on a quarrel, is what Grandma used to say. But you know when I really lost it with my grandmother is when she was driving one time in the car. She's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. And she looked at me and said, Jeran, can you tell me what color that light is? I said, what? That light? It's red. Okay. Then she stopped and I said, you don't know what color the lights are? And she said, well, I usually can tell by the other cars, but there's no other cars, so I had to ask you. I'm like, all right, you're not allowed to drive anymore. You're not allowed to drive anymore. Andrew B is always 100% when he's asked if he's here. Where is he? Oh, is he here? I missed him. When did I ask? I don't see him. Does this mean he's not 100% anymore? He was 100. All right. Well, if you guys don't know the story, during my bocce night with Miss out in the backyard, he showed up in the chat and said that he was a former, not professional bowler, but high-level bowler. And I've like to think, heard of Jeranism Monday Night Raw, but never knew what it was. It was my old podcast that we had years and years of it. I'll put up, just for you, Tony, I'll put up all those old episodes into the VIP. But that's where those episodes will go, the new ones. And it will be not live, it'll be recorded. It'll be about an hour long, and I'll just put those out weekly on Monday. And the first one comes out a week from today. Today, Monday? Week from tomorrow. Week from yesterday. I'll get it right eventually. So that'll come out a week from tomorrow. And then, what was I just going into? Oh, yeah, Andrew B. So Andrew B said that he can bowl. Oh, there he is. He's there. Andrew, what date did we decide? Was it the 18th? Oh, let me go back to my calendar. I didn't put it in our calendar. Now I want to make sure I have the right date. No, I'm sorry. 14th, right? Does that sound right to you? Andrew B, 14th for the meetup at the Morgan Hill Bowl. Let's see what he says here. Where is he? Okay, 14th. Good. All right. So the 14th of September, the plan is to go to Morgan Hill Bowl. We'll give you more details as that comes, but maybe mark that date on your calendar. It's because Andrew said that he can bowl a 240. 240 with a house ball. With a house ball. That's the balls made out of basically plastic that the bowling alleys have behind there that nobody ever uses, except for the kids who come in. So he says he can bowl a 240 with a house ball. So I'm going to give him 5 games to do so. That should be fun. We'll have a little bet going. And there's also all kinds of stuff at Morgan Hill Bowl. They've got like shuffleboard and all kinds of stuff. So be fun. We'll have a meet up there. We have B.O.B. songs back in the gym. They will be the same exact songs. Yes, indeed. The same intro and everything. Raw was an amazing show. Thank you. I'm looking forward to bringing it back. Missa also might want to... what did I do? I had a brain fart. What did I forget? You asked if he was here and he mentioned a meetup maybe after. Meetup maybe after. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm all over the place. Yeah, Jeran, pay attention. I can't pay attention. I'm all over the place. You guys should know that. You should. Every time I finish a show, every time I'm upset that I forgot some major part or something I needed to say and I didn't say it. And then I'm like, the whole show's garbage now. The whole show's garbage. Because like that was the main port. And I like danced around it forever and was trying to get to the main point, never got there. It's pretty bad. But that's why I think the Jeranism show is going to be better. What I'm kind of going to do, and thanks to Conspiracy Music Guru for really kind of helping me through that, is that, isn't a hour show with your packed information better than a 3-hour show where you waffle about, right? And I think I've gotten into the habit of doing live streams. And that's one of the things that comes with live streams. Is usually they go long, right? Because you have a harder time getting to your point. So I think I'm going to work on really kind of doing that before the show, right? Kind of the waffling, get it condensed, get it into a 1-hour show with a good structure. So, things like space time, maybe a Maverick moment, those kind of things will come back as certain segments. And it'll be much more easy for people to follow. It'll be on time each week. All that stuff is coming. So excited about those changes, and that's what's going on tomorrow. We're going to do trivia, followed by Reefer Roulette for the first time ever. That should be fun. And I did have some people message me, and they were upset that we were getting rid of Mystery NASA Theater, but we just decided that we felt like some of the jokes were going to be repetitive, and it was tough to talk about something new because the documentaries are the exact same. How many times can you watch a bunch of guys sitting at a console send a bottle rocket into the sky and then clap, right? I mean, there's only so many jokes you can tell about that. And we could already see that happening. Plus, our numbers were really low as far as views. It was my least watched show. And then talking to my wife, who listens to a lot of the shows rather than watch, because she's always bouncing around with Maverick, I asked her about whether she thought it was a good show. And she's like, oh, that show I don't get to listen to very much. She said, because it's not listenable to just listen. You have to watch it. And I was like, what do you mean you can't listen to it? She goes, no, it's hard because you're listening to the documentary. Then you guys are butting in, talking over each other, and it becomes difficult to listen to. I'm like, oh, you should have told me that. But it was good because that's kind of what I was hearing from some people. And then I kind of realized, oh, that is what's going on. Is that I think a lot of people listen to these shows more than we think. And if it's not listenable, then that's going to hurt the numbers. So we came up with a idea with this Reefer Roulette where we think there's a bunch of subjects that we don't ever get to talk on that we want to talk on. And they wouldn't be like, am I going to bring up boxers versus briefs right now? Probably not. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Doesn't fit this current show. But maybe it's a subject I want to talk about. So that's what the Reefer Roulette will be. It'll be 15 minutes on each topic, maybe even less. We'll have to think about it. There's a lot of possibilities for change there, depending on how it goes. So again, and we're planning on the first show will not have a guest. So there'll just be us 4 doing it tomorrow. But then every show after that, or at least we plan on every show, I might not have anybody who would ever come on my show at this point. So maybe we don't have any guests. But the plan is to have a guest with us each week. That then that's cool because then you're getting to see the guest talk on subjects you would never hear the guest talk about. So that is it. Should we spin it one more time just for fun? Just want to see if we get another bad one. And I'm trying to think of, I want to have it so that you guys can add things to it as well. But I don't know where to have you write those in. I'm assuming most of what people say will already be on there somewhere. Oh, damn. Drug sniffing dogs is a great one. I want to talk about that subject. I do not.
Saturday cartoons.
That'd be fun. That'd be a fun one. Old Saturday morning cartoons as we mostly grew up with. After these messages, we'll be right back. Remember that? Wow, that worked out perfect. Did you hear that? I had nothing to do with that. All right, we're out of here. Yes, I see that. Oh, sorry, somebody else is talking about it. Jeran, oops. How do you get such ace music for your show? Conspiracy Music Guru. That is the answer. He's the one who does the intro, the 5-minute intro that everybody loves. I told Conspiracy Music Guru, I said at least half the people who watch Mystery NASA Theater are only there to hear the 5-minute intro. Waiting for that one, which has now been changed. It now has Austin in it. So we added Austin to the mix, and I was going to show you that, but I don't know where it is. I had it somewhere, but I lost it. I did have it. I don't know where it went. Oh, okay. I'll read that in a second about that. But yeah, so we got the 5-minute. You know what I'm talking about. It's this one here. So yeah, I mean, reach out to Conspiracy Music Guru if you've ever got a project. If you're willing to pay him, he does great work and very fast. He's not like somebody who's going to lag or take if you're paying him by the hour or whatever it is. He's not somebody who's going to, take a long time. He usually gets it done. He works well with you. We go back and forth. What do you think of this idea? No, I don't like it. I don't like this. I don't like that. Change it. Mix it up. What about these lyrics? They're okay. What about this? Change outline. And then before you know it, it turns out something fantastic. So that's always the luck I've had with him. And the other people, once I find somebody good, I just keep going to them. So on Fiverr's a great place to go. That's where I met Lucidamus, right? So Lucci's the one who did pretty much all my music. He did the outro. He did the Jeranism show intro. And what else? Speaker's Corner. So just I think that's how you get good music. See what else we got here. Create him in the years. Okay, there we go. How do you get ace music? All right, let's head out, Jeran. The people dancing on the outro is stupid good. Thank you. I know I should get it. What I need to remember is to keep that updated. I think if I play it again right now, you're going to have a new group. I mean, it's the same one I've seen for a month. All right, let's head out. What did Belladonna say? Can't wait for the new Beetlejuice. Is there a new Beetlejuice movie? Who's playing Beetlejuice? It's not Michael Keaton, is it? That'd be cool. Thank you, Sumka. Appreciate it. Yeah, I think it adds to the show a lot. DJ New Moon in the house. What's up, DJ? Stephanie, Flatter for 3 years. Great. Same people. Oh, that's awesome. Really. That's going to be great. Alex is amazing. Have you heard his new Solfeggio album? I did. It's fantastic. He's one of those talents that is definitely held down by the genre that he's in. And being in Flat Earth is, you can tell he's in it for the truth because he certainly isn't in it for the money. I'll tell you that much right now. Only me and Austin Whitsitt are in it for the money. So everybody else, no. Just kidding. There's no money in the Flat Earth in case you were wondering if there is. It's very difficult. All right, let's head out. Much love to you guys. We will see you tomorrow. I'll be watching comedy. I'll be watching trivia, and then we'll be doing a little smoke off for the first episode ever of Reefer Roulette. Much love to you guys. I remind you, please do your own research. When you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught. Please get some Moringa. Help me out. Support the show. Support the channel. Support your health. And if I can find the webcam, there we go. Let's move this over there. So this is the bag that you get. That's kind of hard to see. Why does that look like that? Like changes the whole color in the room. Look at that. Now it gets bright. Stupid cameras. All right, there you go. Tree of Life, Moringa. There's all his little facts. The nutrition guide. What does that say down there? No what? There's no fillers, no binders, no artificial ingredients. It's fairly traded, organically grown, hand harvested, and low temperature, naturally processed, 100% traceable. We use only our own grown Moringa leaves. Hence, we take full responsibility for the quality, purity, and potency straight out of India. We couldn't ask for anything more. Please do your own research. When you do, you'll never again believe all the bullshit you've been taught. Till tomorrow. This has been Jeranism. Much love. Later, haters. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah. It was nice just hanging out. Now go and hit the bell. Share it with the homies so that they could grow as well. They missing out. Jeran leaves no doubt. If you know what we bout, it's never for the clout, don't fuck around. Hey, not for the clout, that's too cap, we calling them out. Balls get flat when you cover the route. Jeranism all in your mouth. Truth gets lost like all on the couch, but it's time to get up and make them get out. Uncover the route. Jeranism we are the crown. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies.
Who this be? What he about? You stay spinning, he stand out. About flat earth, it's flat out. He's still standing when you passed out. Globers pound, scream and shout. He can turn you inside out. Yeah, surface deep, he's felt throughout. And he stay grounded, you spaced out.
We gotta run nowhere when we come fact check your facts and match your data. Concept is too abstract, what matters? Try to tune in, but the note get flatter. Tell me I'm flattered. Flatter than pancake batter, now we landed. Jeranism, I'm your captain. Speaking, telecasting worldwide. Check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide. Check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. You know equations to the things you make the symbols for, but ain't really explaining what the symbols for. They try to teach you things against the things we taught before. No point in arguing now, they don't wanna talk no more. Okay, got a bite of the truth and now it's certain. That's what life look like when your mind is certain. Okay, got a bite of the truth and now it's certain. That's what life look like when your mind is certain. Thanks to the east side, thanks to the west side, thanks to the north side, way down to the south side. Thanks to the east side, thanks to the west side, big ups to the north side, way down to the south side. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies.